All right, this is Mr. Wyrick, and I'm going to go real quick through some of the semester exam review. Hopefully you'll be able to figure out some of the other answers from the ones we don't cover. Domain and range, just remember, domain is the x, range is the y, domain is the x, range is y, domain is x, range is y all the time. Domain goes from left to right, range goes from bottom to top. So when I'm looking at this one, I can see this is an open circle, that's going to be like this. This is a filled in dot, that's going to be like this. If you've got it down to 50-50 on your multiple choice final, this should get you most of the rest of the way. You should be able to tell what the answer is just from getting those signs correct. It starts at -2, it finishes up at 7. On this one, the bottom of it, I don't care about these points. Those are just endpoints. That doesn't mean anything necessarily. The bottom of this graph is where I start with this one. That's a -8. It's equal because it's touching, and then it comes up to 0. It's open on this side, touching on this side. Because it's touching, it's going to be less than or equal to. On this one, same kind of thing, -7, less than or equal to x, which is less than 2. My y goes the same, actually, on this one. On this one here, again, when we're looking at the range, ignore this endpoint. We go bottom to top, from -7 all the way up to 2. It's equal on both of them. My range, or my domain, just goes from left to right. So I go from -3 over to 2, and I'm open circle on that 2. Okay, you should be able to get the last one from that. On this one, it's giving you the cost. It's giving you what to put in there. You subtract $4.99 from this, divide by $14.99. I believe this comes up 11 books. It's not really important. What's important is understanding this is what I spent, I sub it in for the cost. You can use your calculator to end solve at that point. It's a function if it doesn't repeat the x, it's not a function if it repeats. This one's fine. They're all different numbers on the x value. Nobody cares about what the y is doing. This one repeats the 1s. This one repeats this 2 and this 2. And this one doesn't have any repeats. This one's, yes, it is a function. Write the equation of a line with a slope of 0. That means it's a horizontal line. It's y equals a -3. Situation that could be represented by this, I make $15 an hour and I owe my best friend $3. So it's going to take away that 3. The important thing to remember on this is what's going to happen over and over again and what's only going to happen once. There will be something like this. You'll have to pick the words that will match this equation. Find the value of x that makes the equation true. I'm not going to bother to work this one. You should end solve this one in the calculator. If you're not end solving, remember you have to distribute everything, get the x's to one side, so you'll subtract the small one. Graph the inequality. The -5/3 x minus 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, 2, 3. This is going to be a dashed line coming up like this because there's no equal sign and it's less, so I'm shading below. This is another one. You can graph this real quick in your calculator. On to the next page. The slope of the graph. We count. It goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, 2, 3, and it's going uphill, so it's positive. 5/3 is my slope. We graph this inequality. This is another one. I would type this into the calculator. The key thing on this, it has an equal sign, so it's going to be a solid line, and this is a positive, so we're going to be shaded above. If you can find the graph that's solid line shaded above, then in this case, it should be correct. It's going to look something like this and shaded up here. You should be able to get a better reproduction of it. X and Y intercepts. The x-intercept is where we cross the x-axis. That's a -5, 0. And the y-intercept where we cross the y-axis, 0, 4. Create a table that represents y as a function of x. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't repeat my x. Not a function. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I repeat that 2. It's not the same value over here. It's not a function. Replace the b with the correct value, 1, 2. It's 2. So plus 2. I find my slope. I'm going up 1 over 1. That's x. It's a solid line. I have an equals. I'm shaded above, greater than. In which step does the first mistake appear? We got a half here. A negative times a negative would be a positive. Negative times a positive would be a negative, so I'm good through that one. I distribute this negative, and that's my mistake. A negative times a negative should be a positive. It's here in step 2. If 7 is an element of the domain, domain is x. I put this where the x is, not f of x. F of x is like a y, okay? I'm not going to put a 7 over here. I put a 7 right here. 4 times 7 is 28. 28 minus 8 is 20. Divided by 5 means 4 is my answer. Student council sent its members on 4 field trips. The buses go like this. This is separate points, okay? It's not gonna be a solid line because you can't take like half a person or half a bus. So the domain is 52, 72, 86, 105. It's a list of numbers for all these separate points, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the range. Write an equation, line, and slope-intercept form that's parallel. Just remember parallel means the same slope. So on this one, I go down 2 over 5, y equals a negative 2/5 x. Then I can sub these in for x and y, and solve to find my b value, my y-intercept, okay? On number 17, the savings account balance. The x-intercept, we don't cross the x-intercept. We don't cross the x-axis. It does not exist. That's a nope. The y-intercept right here is $50. And if it's determined the meaning, this is what I started with. This is how much money I had in my account at the beginning. The rate of change, every month it goes up $100. So that's $100 per month. And if I'm supposed to get the meaning, that's my deposits. They happen over and over again. I'm putting in the money. The x-intercept over here, when I've made 6 presentations, I am out of cookies. Sad day. On my y-intercept, it's up here. I had 180 cookies to start. And my rate of change. Every time one presentation happened, it looks like I'm going down 30 cookies. So minus 30 cookies. People are eating 30 cookies. That's not enough. I would have more. Which one of these is not a function? Remember, it's the repeated x values, or it can't pass the vertical line test. This one touches twice. It can't pass the vertical line test. It's not a function. On the back, almost done. Not which one is a function. Not a function, not a function because all that vertical stuff. And this one's got this hidden point right here that makes it not a function. This one is a function. Graph this equation, a negative 3x plus 4. You should know it's a negative slope. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be like that. Again, you can graph that in your calculator. You should be able to check the graphs, see which one of the multiple choice is correct. This one is proportionality. If 376 dishes and 8 loads, that's 376 over 8, and that's equal to how many dishes in 13? X over 13. You take 376, you multiply by 13, and then you're going to divide that by 8 to get your final answer there. The Mavs fans buying the tickets. Remember that 70 is not part of your answer. 70 determines the cost of another one. This is my budget, so $650. I can't spend more than that. It has to be my big number. The lower deck seats are 150, so that's 150L. And then 70% of that is going to be 105, so plus 105 for the upper deck tickets. Whatever I spend has to be less than the money that I have. The mapping represents the function, the domain and range. Domain is my x values, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can't say it's from 2 to 9. I don't have those values in the middle. And then 0, 7, and 9 for the range. They're already listed there for me. Last one, total cost of purchasing shorts can be found using C equals whatever. If you want to purchase at least 5 pairs of running shorts but don't have enough money to purchase more than 10, what would be the domain in this situation? If we're buying running shorts, it has to be whole numbers. So the domain is going to look like this, a list. I can buy 5 pairs of running shorts, 6 pairs, 7 pairs, 8 pairs, 9 pairs, and it says I have enough to purchase 10, but not more than 10. I stop at 10. These are the shorts that I can buy. I could say between 5 and 10, and I want to write those inequalities like that, but it just doesn't work because I can't buy half a pair of shorts. All right, hopefully that gets you most of the way done with the review. Good luck on your test.